Hello, friends. Today I want to share with you a story that happened to me just a few weeks ago. This is a story about a mysterious call from an unknown number that changed my life forever. Get ready, because this story will be scary and filled with incredible turns of events. At home and looking at photos from my last trip. Suddenly my phone rang. I looked at the screen and saw an unfamiliar number. A little confused, I took the call, but what I heard horrified me. The voice on the other end of the conductor was distorted and sounded shrill. He said my name and started telling me about my most secret secrets. I could not understand who this stranger could be and how he knew such details about my life. In a panic, I turned off the phone, but the calls continued. With each new call, the voice became more threatening. A stranger reported on my movements, about places I had recently visited. He knew everything about me. I tried to find out who he is and why this is happening, but to no avail. My life turned into a nightmare. I constantly felt the observation and fear of this incomprehensible pursuer. I lost my appetite and sleep, but I decided to find out who was behind these calls. After receiving a new call, I decided to take a step that could change everything. I agreed to meet this stranger face to face. He gave me the address and the time. Okay, let's continue. Mixed feelings of fear and determination gripped me as I headed to the indicated place. It was already late at night, and the surroundings where the meeting was to take place seemed abandoned and ominous. I couldn't imagine what was waiting for me. When I arrived at the place, I noticed only a single old and abandoned house. Every detail of his appearance looked intimidating, but I had no choice. I decided to go inside and sort out this mystery. As soon as I crossed the threshold of the house, something incredible began inside. The old floors creaked under every step, and the atmosphere was filled with a sense of presence. I moved through the dark corridors, remembering all the threats and calls I received, and so, I got into a room where there was a single lamp that shone brightly. There was a phone on the wall, and from it came a distorted voice that I recognized so well. But there was no one in front wildly as I looked around. And then my eyes fell on an old photo lying on the floor. I picked it up and found out that it was a photograph of my father, who died in a car accident a few years ago. Then I realized all this fear and observation were connected with the death of my father. He wanted to give me a message. I went back to the phone and called the number that had been following me all this time again. This time the voice was not distorted. It belonged to the man who was the driver of the car in which my father died. He confessed that he had been following me all these years, feeling guilty in wanting unknown number. Turned out to be not only a story of fear and persecution, but also a journey to truth and forgiveness. Meeting with a mysterious stranger, who turned out to be the driver of the accident in which my father died, revealed a long-standing secret and led to the realization of his guilt. Through a conversation with a stranger, I found out that he had been going through all these years, but could not find the courage to tell the truth. His intentions were sincere. He wanted to redeem himself and help me. Despite the fact that he did something unjustifiable, I decided to forgive him. Meeting with him led to the fact that I could finally let go of the burden of the past and start moving on. I realized that it is impossible to hold on to anger and revenge, because it only keeps us in the past and prevents us from moving forward. This story, despite its horror, taught me a lesson about the power of forgiveness and that no one is infallible. She reminded me that life gives us the opportunity to understand, accept, and move through our deepest traumas. So friends, don't forget about the power of forgiveness and the ability to leave the past behind. Life is precious and too valuable to dwell in the darkness of hatred and malice. Let's open our hearts to forgiveness and allow ourselves to find true happiness and freedom. It was the story of The Last Call from an Unknown Number. Thank you for joining me, and remember that even in the darkest moments there is an opportunity to find light and overcome your fears.